guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I am doing part 3 of my books with the most shocking plot twists. So these are 11 thriller and horror book recommendations that had really big twists that caught me completely off guard and just left me speechless and jaw-dropped. And you know what else is a shocking plot twist? Me showing you my underwear. Because before we get started with the video, I just want to quickly thank Parade for partnering with me on this video. So if you guys don't know, Parade is a company that creates underwear and loungewear. They cater to all body types with sizes going up to 5XL. They are size inclusive, gender inclusive, and all their fabrics are super soft and sustainable, so they're also great for the environment. So I had the opportunity to try out a couple pieces from Parade, and there are 2 specific pieces that I wanted to mention because they are just simply too good. So the first one is this bralette. I don't wear bras that have an underwire, okay? I don't think I've worn a bra with an underwire in years because I have chronic pain, I have endometriosis, and I have ribcage pain on the right hand side. So I completely stopped wearing underwire bras. So I either wear something without an underwire or bralettes like this. So I just wanted to share with you this one that I've been wearing all the time. This is the Strappy Longline bralette in the color maraschino. You guys know I don't pronounce things correctly ever. Hopefully I got that correct. But this is the size small for me. This does run true to size. And this is the silky mesh material. So I'm going to show you a close-up, but it has this silky mesh material that is super soft and comfortable. So I've been wearing this bralette all the time. It feels so comfortable on. It literally feels like you're wearing nothing, and I love that there's no wire digging into my rib cage. Okay, and then the next thing I wanted to share is the Sweat-Wicking workout brief. Mine is in the color Firecracker, and this is a size medium. Once again, these do run true to size for me, and this material is so silky smooth. It is like butter. Okay, literally the softest thing ever. And I just love these because, first of all, I sweat a lot. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, when I work out I sweat. No, I feel like my body is in fight or flight mode when I'm sitting down sending an email at work. That's the kind of sweat that I'm talking about. So the fact that these are sweat-wicking and super comfortable and soft, it's a win for me. And I also have been testing these out because I've been looking for underwear that is completely seamless without being a thong. And I have not found that anywhere. Literally have not found it anywhere at all until now. These are completely seamless, so I can wear leggings, put these on. You literally don't see an underwear line anywhere. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I always stock up on basic items for Black Friday. And who doesn't need underwear, right? For Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Parade is offering 30% off of their website, as well as up to 80% off lightning sales. But that's not all, because with my code, reading— Whoa, hold on right there. So Parade actually changed my code to 50% off since filming this video. So you can now get 50% off instead of 30% off with only my code. And it gets you 50% off the entire site, which is the best sale of the year. So you can click the link in the description box and enter the code reading-BF. Everything will be on the screen as well as in the description box. So that is the best deal that you can get with only my code. So you are getting 40% off the entire website for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, starting this Friday. So make sure you mark your calendars, stock up, okay? Get the best deal that you can get with my coupon. And not only that, but like, Christmas is coming, and loungewear sets, and they have underwear packs. Those things make great gifts and great stocking stuffers, and a lot of their styles and sizes do tend to sell out quickly, so make sure you act fast and hop on that on Friday, okay? Thank you so much again, Parade, for partnering with me on today's video. Now let's get into the book recommendations. Okay, so I think I have 9 thrillers and then 2 are horror. So I'm going to start with the thrillers, and this is one that I just read recently. It's His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney is like the queen of plot twists, and I really enjoyed this one. So you're following this woman named Anna, who is this news broadcaster, and then you're also following a detective, and here this woman is murdered, and you don't know who did it, obviously, but she is linked to our main character Anna and our main character Jack, the detective. So you don't know if one of them is involved with this murder and how everyone is kind of connected. I thought this entire time that I knew what was going on. I was like, really? Is she really gonna make this a straightforward thriller? No, I should have known better. This had a twist at the end that I really was not expecting. I know some people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed this one and I highly recommend. Next is one of my favorite thrillers of all time, and it is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. You guys know I am obsessed with this book and I recommend it time and time again. But in this book, we're following these 2 sisters, and one is kind of like this rich sort of suburban housewife sort of vibe, and then the other one is just like down on her luck. She's broke. I believe she became addicted to drugs, and we find out when they were younger their sister went missing and the case kind of went cold, and we never found out what happened to their sister, and it kind of made them drift apart. But now in present day, the rich woman's husband is murdered. And it kind of brings these 2 sisters back into each other's lives, and we start learning that his murder is linked to something that happened to their sister when they were younger. It has twists, turns, it keeps you guessing, it keeps you intrigued, and it does deal with some deep, dark subject matter. So if you are not okay with that, maybe steer clear of this one, but otherwise I highly recommend, especially if you're looking for a thriller that like really goes there in terms of gore, violence, and just has somewhat of a depressing vibe. Look no further. Speaking of Miss Karen Slaughter, I have another one here. This is False Witness. So this one, we are following a defense attorney, and she gets called to basically defend this man who is accused of raping someone, and things get wild because we learn a lot about her past and what happened to her when she was younger, and some of the things that happened to her are linked to this current case that she's working on, and things just aren't sitting right with her, and there's a lot of courtroom kind of drama going on, a lot of talk about the pandemic, which was not my favorite part of this book, but it did give it like a real life sort of feel, and there are so many twists and turns, especially in terms of her past. And I mean, the end of chapter 1 like instantly leaves you on this huge twist cliffhanger, and it was wild. I just had to keep reading and figure out what was going on. Really, really well done, especially if you're looking for like a courtroom drama, legal thriller, but it's also super twisty. Look no further. Next is another popular one. It's Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects. This is about this woman who is a reporter, and she just gets out of a psychiatric facility, and she's not the best mentally, but she just discovered that there was a murder in her hometown. Someone murdered these 2 preteen girls. So she has to go back to her hometown and kind of figure out what was going on and who did this, and her family is very dysfunctional. So you have the dysfunctional family drama mixed in with this murder mystery, and has a massive plot twist that I was not expecting. And also this is a show on HBO that is fantastically well done. So if you haven't read this one, pick it up. Next is a new thriller from this year that I've talked about on this channel many times. It is the new Lisa Jewell, None of This Is True. So this is about a woman who meets this other woman at a restaurant. Here they're both celebrating their 40th birthdays. So they start becoming friends, they start hanging out, and the one woman has a podcast, you know, the podcast element. Whatever, she runs this podcast. It's actually really well done in this book, and the podcast chapters are like Netflix docu-series kind of. It like describes the scenes of this Netflix show. It's really well done. But anyways, our main character starts listening to her podcast, and she's like, hey, I think I would be an interesting subject for your podcast because I'm trying to like reinvent myself a little bit after my 40th birthday. So she starts hanging out with her, and we start learning, you know, she's like leaving her husband, and there's something going on with the husband, there's something going on with the family, and this woman is just not quite what she seems. She might have some ulterior motives to becoming friends with this podcaster. There's just something not quite right about her. And the podcaster ends up becoming the subject of her own true crime podcast. This is a slow burn sort of book. I mean, a lot of people are saying that it's boring, but a lot of people love it. I don't mind a slow burn, but the end I feel like had a great payoff. I really just enjoyed where this ended up going in the end, and there are some twists, like the very last chapter that I was like, oh crap, like I was not expecting that. So I love Lisa Jewell, and I absolutely love her writing. Next is The Night Swim by Megan Golden, another thriller that I read this year that I absolutely loved, and we are following another podcaster. I know the podcasters, right? So we're following this woman who runs a podcast. She runs this true crime podcast, and she is investigating this rape trial, and you know, is he guilty, is he not guilty, sort of a thing. Someone keeps writing her notes, asking for her help figuring out who murdered her sister when they were younger. So she's getting these mysterious notes from someone, and she's like, who is this person that keeps leaving me little notes everywhere? And so now she's trying to figure out this murder that happened years and years ago, and now she's also trying to figure out this trial that's going on. The two things become linked in a way, and what happens at the end, when things are actually revealed, I was shocked. I was not expecting where this was going, and everything just tied together so beautifully in the end, but also left me here like, what? That's how I felt after reading this book. Next is The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglin. This one is a book about this husband and wife. They have this rocky marriage. Things just aren't quite going right, so they make an arrangement with each other that they are allowed to date and do whatever they want with other people, but they just can't tell the other one like who they're on a date with. So one day that rule is broken, and who they end up going on dates with and what ends up happening is just really sketchy. A lot of like plot twists and crazy what the hell moments in this book, and it was just really entertaining. It was one of those like popcorn kind of thrillers that I just binged in one sitting on my Kindle, you know, one of those. And there is a second book to this one. There might be a third one, I have no idea, but I just didn't think that it was really necessary or worth it in my opinion, but I really, really liked the first one. Next, I have kind of a controversial one, but it's Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I read this a while ago, like when it first came out, and that's kind of when I first started reading thrillers. So I really enjoyed this one. I know a lot of people really hate this one, and I think if I were to read this now, I I would hate it, but being that I read it so long ago and it completely blew me away, I gave it 5 stars. I think my taste has changed, but I still recommend this one. So this is about a woman who ends up flirting and kissing this guy, and here she bumps into his wife. So he's having an affair with our main character, but now our main character befriends his wife and they start hanging out. So we start learning about this wife, and suddenly she has like bruises all over her. She's acting really weird. We're not sure, is this husband doing something to her? What is going on? Is everything as it seems behind closed doors? But the end is wild, crazy bananas, just so out there that you will never in a million years guess what the twist is. It's like really, really bizarre, but I really enjoyed it because it was just so shocking that I had no idea what was going on, and it blew me away, and I gave it 5 stars when I read this. But if you hate it, sorry, don't blame me. Next, I have Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I feel like everyone knows about this one, or you might have seen the movie. You probably know what the twist is, but if you don't know anything about it, just please go in completely blind, because I did when I read it and I loved it. I really don't want to say too much about this one other than it's about these 2 guys and they start this like boxing fight club. The main character is just kind of down on his luck, sort of, you know, depressed, and then he meets this other guy named Tyler who shows him this fight club, and it's just like a bunch of guys who hang out and box and deal with their pain. I don't even know how to describe this book because it is weird and it does have this huge twist that I won't mention anything about, but just going completely blind. That's all that I knew going into this book, and I'm glad, so I'm just gonna keep it at that. Then for my 2 horror books, both of these books are more extreme horror but have a thriller vibe to them, and the first one is Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez, my favorite extreme horror book. This one, we are following this like snuff film trope where this woman and her husband get separated when on a road trip, and these guys kidnap our female main character and they tell her that she is going to star in a snuff film. So what she has to do in order to survive and get out of this situation is really crazy. There's a huge moral dilemma going on. Tons and tons and tons of trigger warnings. Please, please, like, steer clear of this one if you can't handle extreme horror and these themes. But it's just brutal, heartbreaking. My heart was like jumping out of my chest reading this book. Insane. But it has this like thriller vibe to it. The second half, it kind of takes away from the extreme horror pace and turns into a thriller, and then you have these like thrilling aspects and there are plot twists, and it was just off the walls, and I highly recommend this, especially if you're someone that reads horror and wants to maybe start getting into extreme horror. See if you can read this one, but it's finally back in print, so I can finally talk about it on my channel again. I've been steering clear for a while for that reason, but now it's back in print, and it has even a more stunning cover than this guy here. And yeah, highly, highly recommend. One of my favorite books of all time. And then a book that I talk about all the time is Burner by Robert Ford. This is about human trafficking. It's really gut-wrenching. It's really hard to stomach because things like this happen in real life, but you know, he wanted to make this book kind of spreading awareness and shedding light on some of these harder topics of conversation and things that actually happen in real life that we kind of just turn a blind eye to because we're too scared and too depressed to think about it. But this is about this woman who finds a burner phone after her husband passes away, and she realizes that her husband is not who he seemed to be. And we're also following this other woman who had something horrific happen to her, and their paths cross, and there's just a huge plot twist thrown in there towards the end. And this is another example of a book that's more extreme horror, but is also kind of a psychological thriller, because it has those thriller aspects and you don't really know where the plot's gonna go and how it's going to end. And this was just so masterfully written and well done. Highly, 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 highly recommend. Again, if you are a horror reader and you want to dive into some extreme horror, but also something that has a plot twist and a thriller aspect to it, here you go. So that is it. Those are my 11 recommendations. Let me know in the comments down below a book that had a shocking plot twist for you, and I will see you in my next video. Definitely go check out Parade, and thank you so much for partnering with me again on this video.